This video was recorded live before a canned studio audience. It's Friday Night Movie Reviews, and here they are, Chris and Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Keith.
I'm Chris.
And this is Friday Night Movie Reviews. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have another movie to review for you that we went and saw on, Thursday?
We saw it on Friday.
Friday? We did see it on Friday. I'm getting my days mixed up, y'all. I'm sorry. So we went and saw this movie Friday night of last week. And this movie is one that hasn't really gotten a whole lot of attention.
Yeah, like reviewers are just not reviewing it online that we're seeing. We're probably one of the first. And that's
Or
really
one of the
shocking.
few.
One of the few, yeah. It's really shocking. Like, I haven't seen some of the bigger ones reviewing it yet. So.
And if you're going and seeing movies on a regular basis, there's a good chance that you're probably not seeing very many advertisements for it either.
Yeah. I mean, it again, it is Lionsgate, and, they've had a lot of downturns lately. They had the Crow remake, they had Borderlands, they've had a lot of strikes against them, and unfortunately, the way this trailer looks is just like, oh, okay, it's another John Wick clone. I mean, that's what the movie comes off as. By the way, the movie's, from the title, you probably guessed it, this is the Killer's Game that we're reviewing.
Killer's Game, starring
Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
Sophia Boutella from Rebel Moon.
Right.
And the lady that played Mantis. So.
Right, exactly. So it's not an all-star cast, as you would think of for other movies, but it does have some people who have actually acted before. So you are getting some good quality. Well, I wouldn't say quality acting, but you're getting some people who have done some acting before at least.
Yeah. Probably the biggest name in is Ben Kingsley. He's kind of Dave Bautista's handler in the film.
Right. So the basic premise of the movie is you have it's kind of like Chris was saying, it's somewhat of a John Wick clone. It looks like, and there's this organization of assassins. All right, and basically all they do is they don't go around and assassinate or kill. They don't take hits out on regular people.
It's only bad people.
Bad people.
Like
only people
criminals
who are,
and stuff like that.
People who are already criminals, that are already scumbags anyway, and so they just go and they take these people out. But it's kind of like it's like John Wick in the fact that they take out a contract, and these people, these assassins, they'll say, "Yeah, I'll take this, and I'll do this job," and there's Well, we'll get into all that in a minute. But basically, that's the basic premise of the movie, is that it's this organization where they're assassins. They're going around there killing bad guys. But then Dave Bautista's character, and we're not going to give anything away, so we're not spoiling nothing. You can get all of this from previews if you've seen previews.
Yeah, the trailers pretty much give out the plot. So
right.
We're not spoiling anything by what we're about to say.
Exactly. So Dave Bautista starts having headaches. And they're really bad headaches. And he starts having double vision. And so he goes to the doctor. And they perform an MRI and run some blood tests. And when everything comes back, the doctor gives him a call. And the doctor says, you have
1 month to live. Yeah. About roughly a month.
3 months. It was 3 months. He had 3 months to live. What was the name of the disease?
I had never heard of it, but basically he was going to lose all cognitive function.
Right.
And it was just going to go downhill very quickly from the time it was diagnosed.
CJD, I think, is what they called it.
Yeah.
It was something Jacobson disease.
Yeah, whether it's real or not, I didn't do any research to find out. But it was some name given, and he just couldn't handle that. And he had just met somebody. And he didn't want her to have to go through that. And he was trying to figure out a way to leave her money and all that kind of stuff.
Because he was, like he said, he was going to lose he was going to lose motor function. He was going to lose everything. He was just basically going to be a drooling vegetable until he died. And he didn't want to go out like that. I mean, you guys have seen Dave Bautista. I mean, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. He's a big muscular guy. And in this movie, a lot like John Wick, he is the best at what he does. So he's like the best assassin. Everybody knows this guy's character. And his name is Joe Flood. So everybody knows Joe Flood in the movie. And he didn't want to go out that way. Yeah, I can't say I quite blame him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a terrible way to go, just losing your whole faculties and everything. But he decides to have a hit taken out on himself. So he goes to this lady who he had killed her father. He assassinated her father. And she's like, all right, I'll do it. And
he actually goes to his handler first.
Yeah, but that wasn't revealed in the trailer.
It wasn't revealed in the trailer. Anyway,
yeah,
so he goes to this lady who he had killed her father first.
Yep. She agrees, so they put the hit out. But then here's the twist, folks, and this was in the trailer, and this was one of the big selling points for us. The doctor's like, oh, they got your lab results switched with another patient. You're actually not dying. You just need to get your headaches checked out. That's it.
Yeah, your eyes checked. Have you had your eyes checked?
So then he's panicking, like, I've got to quit this hit. I've got this wonderful woman, it's the first time he'd been in love before, and he's like, what am I going to do?
And he was actually going to quit before he found this out. He was going to quit for her.
Yeah. I mean, that's how serious this was.
So this was like some serious love going on here. And so he was going to quit, but then he found out about this, and then he took this hit out on himself so that he wouldn't have to put her through all of that stuff. And the rest of the movie is all about the lady not lifting the contract off of him and sending assassins after him to kill him.
And this was the big thing about the movie that wasn't presented in the trailers was we're sitting there watching it, and it's not like John Wick. Yes, it has the action and the violence. So if you do have little kids, this is not a movie.
And the language.
And the language. It fits with John Wick. But here's the difference. This movie's very campy. And I don't mean like campy like Adam West campy. I mean just like campy as in they present these assassins. There's one that has to listen to music and all this stuff.
So this assassin comes onto the screen, and he's taking care of a job, right? It's not necessarily Joe Flood, but he's taking care of a job, and it shows him get into action, and then it puts his name in some kind of weird font behind him or beside him or something like that. The name of the assassin.
And they do that for all these different assassins, and they all have some kind of gimmick about them,
right?
And they're such, out off the wall type characters, just completely from real life and everything that. It's just campy. Like, you have to suspend disbelief when you watch this movie, more so than you would a John Wick movie.
Right.
So that is something to maybe know ahead of time that wasn't presented in the trailers, and maybe they felt like if they had put that in the trailers, it would have hurt the film. But I actually found it a nice touch because the whole time I was like, I really don't want it to be a John Wick clone.
Right.
And going in, that's what I thought this was going to be. So
the thing is, it for what the movie was, it sort of worked.
Yeah,
it worked. It was
and they kept that same tone. It wasn't like they would go John Wick back to the camp. No, it was campy all the way through.
It kept the camp all the way through. Well, once it hit
the
camp, once it hit the campiness, it kept the campiness all the way through. So it didn't switch back and forth like he was saying. Now it starts out at first, it seems like it's going to be a very serious movie, and really, to tell you the truth, so we're going to get into what we actually thought about the movie. To tell you the truth, what this movie reminded me of a lot was Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, it was a lot like Kung Fu Hustle, actually. It had that same kind of level of camp. I mean, it was there. Like, what you're watching immediately when it gets to showing the titles of the characters and everything else. Like, it feeds into that. So just know that going in if you're going to watch this movie.
Right. You're going to get some campiness with it. You're going to get some action. You're going to get some gore.
Yeah,
you're going to get the language. But
surprisingly, there is a little bit of romance between Dave Bautista's character and Sophia Boutella from Rebel Moon.
Right.
She actually has some acting range, so I have to give her props for this.
she actually does.
So don't blame her for Rebel Moon. It's not the actress's fault. It was the movie itself. Like, it had nothing to do with her. So if you're thinking, oh no, it's that woman from Rebel Moon, and I'm sure that's probably what some people saw when they saw her, because the whole time we were looking at each other, we're like, where do we know her from? And we're like, we reviewed the movie that she was in.
Right.
And
I turned around and I looked at Chris and I said, wasn't she in Rebel Moon? And he said,
that is her.
Yeah, that is her.
I mean, she still had the short hair and everything. Like, it was right there in front of us.
It was very surprising to us to actually see this woman actually doing some acting. So, just to let you guys know, I enjoyed this movie. I liked it. I enjoyed the campiness of it. It was pretty nostalgic as far as like as far as that campiness goes, because it did remind me a lot of Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah.
The way that the different assassins had their own little gimmick, and how that gimmick was like somewhat over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just and it not only did it put the character over the top, but it put the assassin itself over the top, made them better than this other assassin that could have maybe done the same job but just did it regular. So it was over the top in that respect, and it was reminded me of Kung Fu Hustle a lot, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. The action was great. Now let me tell you something. Those fight scenes in this, you can't compare them to The Crow, because they're just done so much better than The Crow.
Yeah, and this was same studio now. Like, this is Lionsgate, and you're thinking, okay, how can they have done this movie and done this? But you know, every studio's had that, where they have a movie that's not great and one that's a lot better. This one falls into that category.
Right. There are some real, I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there. There are some real cringe moments in this movie with the action scenes. Some really cringe moments where something happens and you're like, oh.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
can
just
feel it.
You just feel the pain.
Yeah, you can feel it.
And the sound effects are there for when bones get crunched and everything else.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, this is not a movie for kids. This is one you leave at home.
You know another movie this reminds me of?
What's that?
Kick-Ass.
Yeah, it's very similar to that too. Yeah, because that's over the top.
Yeah,
gimmicky.
Yeah, reminds me a lot of Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
as well.
And that's the reason why I have to always well define, because people hear the word campy and they immediately think Adam West Batman.
Right.
That's not what we mean by campy.
No, we're talking about something like Kick-Ass or Kung Fu Hustle. You know, that kind of campiness, except with better acting.
I would even say like Bruce Campbell, Army of Darkness, like with the slapstick type of thing. Like it's almost in that kind of realm, but not to that extreme. This one takes more of the John Wick violence, but putting the camp on top of it.
Right.
So if you want a departure from John Wick and you need something to set it apart, where you're like, oh, I need something a little bit more fun, this is that movie.
This is that movie, and this movie was very well done. The music was great.
Yep.
The music was great. The action choreography, the fighting was just it was right on top, right spot on. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And if I was gonna give this movie a rating, I would give this movie probably about 8.5 popcorns.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, it comes down to me is, would I have seen this in theaters, or could I have waited till streaming? And that kind of affected my score a little bit. To me, I didn't need to see this in theaters. If it hadn't been for my unlimited pass with Regal, I probably wouldn't have watched this in theaters. I still enjoyed it and would watch it again easily, but this one I could have waited till like Netflix to watch.
Yeah, so I would say that.
So it affected my rating. I probably rated it about a 7.5, somewhere in there, maybe 6.5, somewhere in that range as far as how many sodas I would give it. Because there is one disappointing thing, and he forgot to mention it, and he was so disappointed. They cut a line that was in the trailer that he loves so much. They cut this one line out, and that's probably what kept your rating from being higher than an 8.
It probably is. It probably is, because that one line, I laughed every time I heard it. But I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to spoil it for you guys.
So watch the trailers, then go watch the movie, and then you can put in the comments of this video, be like, "We know what you were talking about. We saw it." You know,
we saw it.
So I did want to bring that up, because both of us were like, he didn't say the line, and that line would have fit perfectly with the movie.
It would have,
especially after we figured out it was a campy movie. That line actually would have had more significance, because it was like, oh, okay, that's a nice one-liner, you know.
So I would definitely, when this one comes out on Blu-ray, I'm definitely going to put this one in my collection.
Yeah, you know,
definitely
buy it on Blu-ray. Don't necessarily have to watch it at theater. Watch it on Netflix. You know, when it gets to Netflix, because this definitely will probably be on Netflix. It's a Lionsgate movie, so.
Yeah, yeah. You can, yeah, you can, unless you have some type of movie pass with the theater that you frequent.
Yeah. Because
you can skip the theater on this one because it's not really that big of a thing. There weren't very many people in the theater when we went to see it.
I think there was 10 of us.
I think like 10 of us, and I think a lot of people are still going to see Beetlejuice.
That's really what hurt this film. Right. And then two, the past blunders with the Crow remake and Borderlands.
Right.
People probably saw this, and the trailers made it look like it was just a John Wick clone, and a lot of people are thinking, "Oh, I can just pass this movie and doing what I was saying to do, to watch it on Netflix." So it's going to hurt the bottom dollar, even though I think this was the number 6 movie this weekend.
Right.
So it didn't do bad at all. It just, Beetlejuice is just going to take this month all the way till October.
Exactly.
Because there's not really any major competitors.
And not just that, but it's I mean, it is getting close to the end of the movie season. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really being looked at as much as other films, and there are other films that are stealing its thunder.
Yes.
But I would definitely not skip this movie.
No, watch it definitely.
Definitely watch it somewhere, either when it comes on a streaming service that you have, or when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD. Just you go ahead and watch it because it is a good movie, and if you want a fight movie, I would definitely watch this one over The Crow any day.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just like I said in the Crow review. Go watch the original Crow. Like,
right.
Let's pretend this remake didn't happen.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. But with this film, The Killer's Game, definitely a watcher, and I would say it's probably a repeat watcher too, because there are just little subtleties in it that you're going to see the next time you watch it. Because it just has like Kung Fu Hustle, mm-hmm. like Kick-Ass. It has that sort of that campiness in it, and that level of.
It's also nice.
Layers.
It's also nice too to see the action star type of movie like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone used to make come back into the fold, because this is like Dave Bautista shooting out one-liners just like how Arnold would do in the spirit of like Commando or Predator, or how Stallone would in like Demolition Man.
First Blood.
It's definitely that kind of thing, and it's
First Blood.
So those are the movies I grew up and was raised on. And so it's a nice return. So this is a good comfort movie. I'll say that.
Right.
But just make sure the kids are not in the room for this.
But nowhere near. It is nowhere near as serious as First Blood.
No.
First Blood was a serious movie. This one is. It has serious moments in it. Don't get me wrong. It's not total nonsense. But it's like we've been saying, the comedy is weaved intricately into the action and into the rest of the movie. Think of like Chris was saying, think of the old Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where he does something and then he throws a one-liner out, or the Bruce Willis movies, the Die Hard movies. Yep. Think along those lines, where they throw out the one-liners after they've done something spectacular, and you've got this movie along with the whole different fonts whenever it shows a new assassin coming on the screen. So I give it 8.5. Chris, 8.5 popcorns. Chris gives it 7 sodas.
7. Mm-hmm.
So it was really good. So you guys, I'm being serious here. Y'all pack your stuff up.
Yep.
And go and see this movie.
Yep.
Because it's definitely worth seeing.
Definitely. It's not trash.
No, definitely not.
Worth your cash. Yeah.
It's worth the cash, but like we said, you can skip it and go into, wait for it to come on streaming.
Yep. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Remember to hit that bell for notification for when our next video drops. Leave us a comment. We take suggestions as well. So if you got a video you want us to review, let us know. Thank you, guys.
And hey, if you see the movie and you see the one line that's left out from the advertisements, do let us know. I'm curious as to how many people are going to catch it like I did. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We enjoyed having you tonight, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy your movie. Have a good night.